She did not see my stomach, did she?
Don't worry about it.
She's a real
We're going to be live. We're live.
She's a real nutter, eh?
We're live. We're live.
Her heart's in the right place.
No, it's good.
But I think she should divorce you then and marry you. You're well suited, the both of you.
No,
the way your marriage
you were live.
the way that your marriage is going.
It's good.
You probably will marry her.
No, Jonathan. Hey, we're live and our sound is really sucky. Do you have that earplug? Oh, yeah. I just have to use this. I hope there's no germs in here.
They have been in my ears.
Well,
I've got two. They're good.
Here's a lesson. It's got 3 little rings on it. That's good, as opposed to 2 rings. Because almost everything's going 3 rings at stereo, right? These are really pretty high tech. These aren't the normal ones. So, what we're doing today, we've got a new piece of equipment. We're live, by the way. We're getting ready to do episode number 5 because we usually do 2, but we're only doing 1 episode. And we've got the new piece of equipment here. Jonathan, put your mic a little bit closer. About 6 inches. I've got tools to tighten this up. I didn't bring them, did I? I got tools. Darn it. You just got to get it so it's stable, whatever it is. You're like, this is good. This is bad. No, I forgot to bring my tools to tighten this up. This actually,
I'll be honest with you, Bill.
What's that?
You're the sound guy, so I'm not going to tell you your job. But really, if that Yeti, that blue Yeti, if it's 90% as good as this setup, I would use the Yeti. We'll
play with it, but once the setup's going, these are dynamic mics. Even though
it'd be so much easier. Yes, if it's 30 to 40% worse, you can't use it. But if it was 10% worse, I would just use the Yeti.
This is really bad because we're not getting any sound. What? Are these all plugged in? Try some. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
No, we're not getting anything. No, this is a brand new mixer. And
same brand?
Brand new mixer.
Is it the same brand?
That's a different brand.
Oh, God.
And we're not getting any sound. I almost brought the other mixer, but I don't bring it. I'm really tired of hauling stuff around. I want to do this stuff.
You should have done.
No, you gotta do this stuff right. I'm really big into sound.
No, it's just.
Come on, you don't have anything going through here right now. This is a bummer. Come on. There's nothing. Let me try something. 1, 2, 3. Sorry about this, guys. Why don't you talk to folks out in the audience? This is what it looks like when you don't check out equipment. One of the things I was going to talk about today is the importance of buying good equipment first time, especially with a learning curve. Now, everything should work. I mean, it should work. The power's on. Everything. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, is on the mic's on? Mic is on, right?
I don't know. Where?
Check the little button.
That's on. Yeah.
And I do not know why. That's yours. You're 2. This is. Just talk. Make noise.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Unbelievable. Everything looks right.
3, 4.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, you've got power.
Power's on too. Power light's on. Now, I love this. Power light's on. Here we said it. Okay, the power light is on. We actually got a little bit of something going there, but it's not. You got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, there we go. We got the game.
1, 2, 3.
There we go.
1, 2, 3.
Got it. You know what? I had to turn up the game more.
1, 2, 3.
That was just a game issue. Okay, let's balance our stuff. It's working. You know what it was on this? I had to put the gain way up. That's a bummer. And we've got everything else. This is really nice, though. It's a nice little piece here. Highs and the lows.
Why is it better than the previous one?
It should have more power in the amplifier. Gain. It doesn't. What I'm learning is you really want to buy. You don't want to buy cheap equipment. So go ahead and talk.
Bill's instructing me on this new mixer deck. I think basically must be driving you trying to trade.
No, that's using the desk over.
Because he wants to find any excuse to spend some more money on tech equipment.
No, you have
And I
to.
used to be like that. About 3-4 years ago, it all had to be the best, and somehow it was going to help me. And now,
It doesn't have to
I've
be the
got the
absolute
cheapest
best.
Mac I could get for the money I could spend.
By the way, the sound is probably not good up there today. We're in the atomic room. We're live, but next time when we put the Blue Yeti out here, you'll find it's very good. We did that once. We tested the Blue Yeti. I borrowed one. Works very well. So I think we're almost there. Let me look at my sound. My sound's a little low, so I need to bring up mine. We're talking 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go too crazy. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Jonathan, talk again.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I'm going to actually bring you down. I'm trying something new. Talk again.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Talk again.
Hello, Bill.
You're still too strong.
It's still.
Man, you're
close to
perfect.
10 o'clock, Bill. We still ain't done it. You know.
You're perfect. Wait, you know what? That's wrong. Okay, talk again.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
5.
Hello, Bill.
Okay.
This is me.
Well, go a little more.
This is me talking to Bill, constantly talking to Bill.
Okay, that's good. Let me talk. 1, 2, 3. So, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
My game is low. Come on, game. Get up there. Get up. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. So, we're talking. Let's talk a little bit.
Yeah. This is just a small example. In practice, you might have many more media queries at sizes that are appropriate for your content. Where I recommend using your site's content as a guide to creating breakpoints.
You know, my last show, I was able to do this in 3 to 5 minutes.
Even before you start responsive design evolution, the idea of using a mobile-first approach started to take hold.
Okay, Jonathan. Two, three. Okay, now I'm pretty good. So this is episode number 5. Sort of messed up because we threw out episode number 3. What's going on up there? Still working? Yes. Oh, I think it stopped broadcasting. Let me see something. What happened is, you know, it's still working. It's not. At the last one we were in here, the internet, they were having problems with the internet signal. It actually really degraded during our show. But this is straight on record. So we're going to go. This is episode 5. We're only ready to go. Oh, second. I don't need this anymore.
Okay.
What a day. What a morning.
Yes, what a morning.
Well, let's go.
Let's go.
Jonathan, welcome to, first of all, your timeline is up today.
Yes.
I think we're going to hear this afterwards. It's episode 20 from Timeline of Success. You can find all about Jonathan, and we'll link it to the website. And we're starting to slowly get going, to get better systems set up. It's been busy 20 days, hasn't it?
It really has. I've had some emergency project work to do with the clients, and it's all gone reasonably well. But last weekend, I was working all weekend on a client site. And on Monday and on Tuesday, and we've gone live. Yes, we went live on Wednesday, and I was sorting out some of the minor problems on the Thursday.
Really? Can you give that site out?
Yeah, it's the throttle bill.
Can we spell it?
THROTTER bill.
We'll get the
.net.
We'll get the link to that so we can see what you're working on. I don't even know what you're working on. A couple things. This show is kind of interesting. It's kind of a fun show. I'm knocking out the daily show for the last 20 days, which is a lot of work.
It is.
I've gone down from 5 hours down to about 3 hours in production. Good.
Yes.
But that's really good. They're actually 6 or 7 hours initially.
It only took you 2 hours to set this show up, Bill, did it?
No, I did start. We got a new piece of equipment.
You always got a new piece of equipment, Bill.
No, yeah. Anyway.
Do you like spending money, Bill?
No. Actually, I like to make money eventually, but you have to spend money to make
money.
money.
There's no chance. You get used to it, Bill. God knows how much money I've spent on plugins.
Oh, I know you've spent a lot. I'll tell you, in the soft side, what you do as a developer, deciding what licenses you want, I can see that. A good developer is going to spend thousands of dollars a year in licenses like that.
or quite, there's a group that you buy, but you really got, has this really save time? Is it going to continuously be improved? Are you going to get good support? Has the developer or developers behind this have a track record of making good code? Have they got a good reputation? These are the things that I look at. And I don't buy as many plugins as I used to. I bought a quite expensive one about a week ago. And what it does, he's the joint presenter on a development podcast. The name of which escapes me, but I'm looking at it for it right now. And he's the co-host with Pippin Williamson. And he's got his own plugin company. And basically it allows you to migrate the data. You can have developing on your local machine. Let's say you've done the heavy work and you put all the plugins in, but you're doing some extra work. You can have a copy on your local machine. You can have a copy on your staging site. I don't know if you know what I mean by the staging site. And then you've got your live site.
Well, no, I understand your local machine. I know the live site. So what is the staging site?
The staging site it's on a server, but it's not the live website. It's a site where you're putting new plugins or you're doing work on.
So how do you set the path up on that site?
Well, this is what this plugin does.
What makes a path?
Well, it enables you to transfer the database from your local to the staging to. Because there are backup plugins that allow you to migrate the physical files,
right?
The images, but like the widget areas,
right.
You always found that even the best migration plugin. Well, of course, if you're using WP Engine as your host, one of the I think Fly will also provide this and a couple of the other hosting providers that specialise in WordPress. What most of them do is they provide a staging site. They provide a mechanism where you've got a mirror of your live site,
right?
And they provide an interface where you can just transfer almost instantaneously.
That's WP Engine, right?
And some of the other specialised.
Right.
But I'm doing it the kind of rough and ready way. But this plugin is fantastic because the podcast that I was talking about is Applied Filters, and it's a great podcast. It's aimed and it's run by Brad, and I'm going to destroy his name. Toussaint. I think he's a French Canadian. It's Touesnard. I have no idea how Brad. Let's say Brad. And you've got Pippin Williamson. Basically what Brad has developed is a plugin called WP Migrate DP Grow. It doesn't exactly roll off your tongue, does it? But it's a great plugin, and what it does is it allows you to migrate your database from your local machine to your staging site, and then from your staging site to your production site. And you literally have to put a snippet of code into a window, click migrate, and it just migrates the database almost instantaneously.
That's amazing. It does so well. I know that. Now I get a quick question.
So that cost me. I know I've gone off topic a little bit, but that cost me. I bought not the highest development level. I bought the development license, the middle one, and it enables me to put it on this program onto 30 websites. But that cost me. But they did have a good special offer. They had a good coupon code on but it's normally $199, and I got it for about 30, so it's still quite an expensive plugin. But Brad's an excellent guy, he's an excellent coder, and it's worth the money, this plugin.
Well, that's good. And that issue goes back to how much you actually spend a year on licensing as a developer. Now, I'm not a developer. I guess I am, because I have 3 licenses now, 2 or 3.
You do, but you've got quite a few websites going.
Yeah, but that's how I learned, and I do have a lot. And I did it early on.
Cut down all the match, because, the amount you said you've had up to go, and not really that stuff.
Each of my girls have a website. My wife's got a website. We got 2 in the real estate company. We have the top sites with the timeline of success. But they're really simple sites that produce, and it's almost like a blog, and then slowly building. But what does bother me is the backup. And I want to talk to you about the backup today. So let's leave that for episode 6 and talk about backup, the importance of backup.
I thought we were talking about responsive
design. No, let's look at episode 6, because today's episode is going to be responsive design.
Oh. Yeah.
So we can get right into it. But before we get to responsive design, I want to talk about some business practices. That's my side.
Okay.
So here are a couple lessons. In Timeline, I've really learned some lessons. I've learned from Jonathan too. When you do these shows about business people or successful people, you pick up from them. One of my points actually has come out of Jonathan's show. I've got 3 major points. One is never run out of money. Well, I'm not talking about making large sums of money. Just don't let yourself run out of money as a principal in business, because you can be making money and still run out of money, especially in construction. If you have traditional construction companies, things of that nature. So cash flow, it's also called cash flow. Cash flow for your life, that's a principle. The other principle is stay productive. Make good use of your time, take care of yourself. And the third principle right now, which I think is really important, and Jonathan brought it out to me, and I have a tendency to try to do too much. And sometimes when you do too much, you go backwards. But sometimes you push through, too. And I'm pushing through right now. I'm getting better balance. And what it is the industry or business of both WordPress and to some extent the podcast business, what I'm doing now, the new media, is new, so I've been working hard here at it. And you learn what it really takes to do things. Things that look simple may not be simple. And then finally, my 4th point, which I think is really important, at least in my media company, is, I do this in my design build construction, is buy the best equipment you can with your budget. If you try to cut corners and jump, especially when you have to learn software, you have to learn hardware, it takes time to do that. And if it's junk, you've wasted your time. And I can tell you of days that I wasted on certain softwares that either changed or modified it. I wish I'd just gone to some, like Adobe Edition right off the bat. Started doing Adobe Edition. Thank goodness I started to forget about GarageBand. I love GarageBand, but Adobe Edition can do so much more, so much faster. And then today we have a new mixer. We're going to see how that's working. It's a much more solid mixer. It's not the most expensive for the field operation. It's a Mackie, and it feels so much better than my other mixer. But the other mixer was working okay until I got my high-speed mic, my new mic, which I just got this week. And it doesn't have the amps to push that down here. So and the other thing, too, is I've actually borrowed equipment from other people. That's where you network among masterminds. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of podcasters here.
No.
It's amazing if there's a void in the Reno area of people doing what I do. It's absolutely cool. You wouldn't find that in any other major city. I don't know if Reno's a major city.
No, I wouldn't classify love it there, but I would not classify it as a major city.
It's actually pretty small. It's the second largest city in Nevada, but it's small. It's 200,000. That's a small city in some other states.
Yes.
So that was the lessons for the day for business. Jonathan's going to go into dynamic design, which is
responsive design.
Excuse me. Responsive design. You know why I said dynamic?
You've got that theme from themes on your brain.
I love it. I love it. So you guys know what I use on all my sites. I use Genesis with dynamic with a K at the end. That's all my sites have the same thing. Genesis with dynamic. And the theme, I always get confused here. We got WordPress and Genesis. Genesis, they say it's a theme, but it's not a theme.
It's a framework.
It's a framework.
It's a framework.
But
there is overlap. go, understandable. I wouldn't criticise you for your slight confusion.
Naivety.
I wouldn't say naivety at all. I would say you have every right to be slightly confused, because there is a lot of overlap between what is a framework and what is a theme. And you could utilise, and I would be criticised for this, and especially on the guys that run applied filters. I think you could actually say some themes I'm kind of like master, some frameworks are like master themes, and there's a lot of overlap. So your confusion, to some extent, is justifiable.
Yeah, I understand it now. I know it.
Now, is your beloved framework, and then so you've got Genesis, which is the framework, and then you've got this theme that you love. Is that responsive?
Yes, dynamic is responsive.
Now, what do you? And you said that with such conviction, but what do you take when I say responsive links to this theme? What do you think I mean?
It will adjust to my iPhone, the iPad, and other mobile devices or other monitors and systems. When you pull it in from the side from the computer, it actually adjusts to get the most critical elements or theme of message to the user.
And he's totally correct about that.
Amazing.
But he's also deluding himself as well. And it's not an attack on our beloved Bill here, but he is saying exactly what I expected him to say on that subject. And there's nothing wrong with what he said. But let's go back a bit, and then when we did the first episode, we said we were going to aim this at the person that's either running a successful online business, or is thinking of running a business online, or it's got the responsibility to run a website for some organisation which they're committed to. Whatever your reason, you have a need to get people to a website, and you're directly or indirectly have some responsibility for the success of this website project. So you're the audience. So why is responsive important to you? Now, responsive is a broad term. It's an umbrella term that basically encapsulates a lot of technology that has been developed. And it was around, the framework of this technology was around between 2008 and 2009, but it didn't really hit the level where it was producing a lot of excitement in the website development, website design community, development community, until an article came out in May, around May, and I think it was around 2010, and I'm going to kill this guy's name again, Ethan Maricott.
Ethan?
Ethan, E-T-H-A-N, Ethan Maricott, produced an article on Listapart. Listapart is a famous web design blog. A lot of web designers, developer types go to this blog, Listapart, and he produced an article about some new technology that's been introduced, and there's an industry body that has control over how CSS is the main kind of language. Now you have two building blocks. You've got HTML, and you've got CSS. And CSS is controlled by this industry body and people like Oracle, Microsoft, Apple are represented on this industry organisation, and they control the development of CSS. And I'm not going to go into a lot about how CSS is developed and how these new things come out, because it'd be a long episode and it'd be too techy. But they had this industry body to do some new technology, and it was around about how websites could adapt to different screen resolution. I'm getting a bit nervous, folks, because Bill is starting. He's getting bored with this conversation.
No,
he's worried about his mixer.
Our sound is good.
Right.
It's just
he's getting a bit nervous, folks. So let's get on to the chase here. So they brought out.
Jonathan, you just peeked out.
All right, I peeked out.
You got too excited.
Are you going to clap?
No, I didn't clap. Drive on. It's good. I'm actually listening to what you say, and it's very interesting.
Yeah.
No, it is, honestly, it is.
So let's get back to the chase here, to be here all day. Basically, got this new technology out, and how did you pronounce his name? FN?
Effen's good.
Effin came out with this article,
this is an Effin
and he had pointed out that these new developments could be incorporated into a website, and that would make that website have the ability to adapt to different screen resolutions. And it's like lots of things. The basic technology has been around for a couple of years, I think, but nobody had really written about it extensively on a really well-read blogs. And the reason why, because there was really not a lot of need for it, because it does cause a lot of extra work. And the reason why it had suddenly become rather important was of hardware, of the iPhone, the iPad, and the Androids. You know, smartphone technology had erupted at the same time, or around the same period. And basically, you know, and it still is the case. There are some WordPress technologies that help with this, but building a purpose app for your iPhone, for your Android, for your iPad is a very expensive process compared to a website.
It's 10 o'clock.
So even if some bloody voice appears from nowhere.
That's all right. It's almost the time. It's good. That's the third party, the computer, the Mac.
God.
We got that last time.
Can I get back on subject? Because basically, it's expensive to build apps. So you want a website that can adapt to your iPhone, to your iPad, to your 24-inch monitor, to whatever, to its best of ability. It's not magic, but it now can adapt to these different devices and these different screen resolutions. And this is why this article, it came out around the same time that these mobile devices were increasingly coming out and increasingly being used. Now, as a business owner, I've gone in the past 10 minutes and hopefully you haven't fallen asleep. But why is all this important to you, the business owner? Well,
let me answer.
Can I first of all put my little bit in first, Bill?
Okay.
Why I think it's important is that this year, when you look at statistics that are published on the internet about who are viewing sites and what they're using, over 70, or between 60 to 70% of the people that are coming to your website are coming to your website and they're using a mobile device, a tablet, a smartphone, some mobile device, and now between 50 and 40% are going to your website using what's classified as a classic computer, a laptop, a desktop computer. So you can see now that you've got a website and you want to cater to your audience. it's best that it caters, it responded to what device they were using. So what was you going to say?
Responsive design. You said it, but I only say it in a business manner, which is really important to touch people. I would have to say that a lot of well-off business people who own a business don't know what responsive design is. They need to know, and the younger folks do. The companies, the businesses that are driving hard and catching up and overcoming some of the traditional businesses understand responsive design because younger people get it. Younger people adapt quicker with the smartphones, the pads, things of that nature. When I talk young, maybe college to 35, 40, or some generation, then it starts falling off, it appears. So you have to have that responsive design because most people now are using their smartphones, their pads that they're carrying with them to contact the web. They go on the web, they look at websites. And if you don't have a good responsive design, if you can't get the points down right away or find what you want to find, people aren't going to use your site or your company, whatever it might be. For example, let's say I'm downtown, I'm trying to find a place to eat. I'll pull up my iPad or iPhone and I'll search for a place to eat. I'll look at their website. If there's a good responsive design, I'll find out what they have, what's the bottom line of that company or that restaurant to buy food. And I'll end up going there. So those are the little things. Does that make sense?
I think Bill's, you were spot on, Bill. I think you really explained why it's so important. But what I'm aghast at is that this week I went to a couple local Reno business networking type run by the Reno Chamber and another local business organisation, and a lot of the people that were attending were business owners, and but they were both presentations and they were around web technology, and it was the level of questioning. Now, when it came to the question section, I was aghast at the naivety and they're not. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic here or arrogant, but it was still shocking the amount of ignorance around the general business community.
I agree. I think in all cities it may not be this way, in all businesses definitely not this way. But on your local business meetups, the brick and mortar guys out there who are working their butts off to keep your little restaurant or business, whatever it might be, or real estate company, they haven't gone in and seen the changes. The changes are coming fast. But the people who adopt to it, a lot of auto dealerships have adopted to responsive design. You see that. It works because you never people on vehicles. But let me add to what you said. I belong to a group of, I'm 57, and I belong to a group of business people, successful business people, along one party line, who have for the most part, a monthly luncheon meetup. And some of our speakers are very good. They've written books. They're a little older. And I'm aghast at their lack of understanding. Every speaker I ask to try to come on timelines, and then we also do the Google Hangout live. They don't get it. Instead of talking to 60 or 70 people at that luncheon, which they do talk to, they have a chance to talk to thousands of people with the same effort. And they don't see it. They don't understand that thousands of people are watching or seeing what they're doing because of different social media. Sort of fits in that responsive design. People don't get it. People don't understand the change that has happened so fast. Now, one last second. Avery, I got to interview him for time. Avery, you know, he ran for mayor.
Yes.
He was probably the best candidate. He didn't win. He was a little too high tech. He didn't connect politically with the traditional political systems. But he understands what's happening. I saw him. He understands the future and the direction we're going. What's his first name? You know Avery's first name?
No, I don't.
I know I saw him at the forum. It's the only time I've seen him. I sent a quick email during the campaign, congratulating him on really saying the right things. But it's going to happen fast. And there's something called the S-curve. You know what the S-curve is? Yes. The S-curve means it moves very fast. It's moving very fast right now, and the early adopters have adopted. The people in the middle are picking it up, and the last people will be the people who adopt slowly. They'll be run over.
So I think Bill, what Bill said is totally spot on. But I personally have been a bit slow about taking on responsive design. Why? it's been a time factor, and also the kind of client, a lot of the clientele that I'm dealing with. Because the brutal facts are, a lot of the clientele that I'm dealing with, they haven't got the resources and they haven't the money, time to really, they fundamentally don't understand what responsive design is, why it's important. They listen when I explain it to them, but I still don't think they really comprehend why it's so important. And basically, those that talk about responsive design and bring out examples of pure, they bring out what I would call the unicorn fairy, the perfect example of a responsive design. But brutal facts, a custom design, a fully custom web design, i.e. that your designer listens to your requirements and then designs a pure design based on your requirements, and then he or she, or they get somebody, codes that website up and then places it into WordPress. That's going to be an expensive endeavour, and that's going to be between $6,000 to $10,000 to get people that really know what they're doing. And then you've got the responsive element, and responsive element is that you should do the respect. Most people, I don't agree with this. I do it the other way, but most people design for the smartphone first, and then they design for bigger screen resolutions. I tend to go to the other direction. I prefer to design for the larger screen and work down, because I think it's more of a page layout and clients have a better working out means time, working out means money. And then I haven't touched the reality is that somebody's got, after the site is developed, somebody's got to test this in all these different devices. And there's virtual testing software, but fundamentally, virtual testing is great, but it's only so far you can go. You really need to see how that website looks on an iPad, how it looks on an iPad mini, how it looks on an iPhone, how it looks on a...
That's right.
Can you see where I'm going with this?
There's so many different...
There is a ton of testing and extra work. Well, most clients, even if they've got a successful small to medium business, I'm not talking about businesses that are just struggling, I'm talking about businesses that want to do better. They're successful, they want to make more money. So they see it, instead of a cost, they see it as an investment. Right? There's if a business is struggling, they only see marketing as a cost.
Right.
But what you have to explain to them is that this is a lot of extra work. But there are shortcuts, which I want to explain. But there's also costs to shortcuts.
Well, you only have
this is Bill's response to what I've just said.
You have 3 more minutes left, John. 3 to 4 more minutes in the show.
Oh, we've got to keep on going.
Next show.
So we're going to...
We've got to bring them back.
We're going to...
I'm marketing
this is... We need to keep on going.
We're pushing on 30 minutes.
This needs to be a 40 to 50. Please keep going, Bill.
See, I believe that we should be bringing
we're going on, Bill. Right.
5 more minutes. I think you hit it right in the numbers, and if you see what I'm doing with my business this year, I'm retooling. I had a pretty darn good business prior to my last 5-year deployment, and it had an Exchange server and all the right things, great contact management, and I'm retooling because I've gone back and had to re-educate myself. I had to learn WordPress. I'm definitely learning sound and different elements. But what I would say is, for me, I'm focusing on, like you, the basic laptop screen top and the smartphone. So I'm looking at the smartphone and the iPad. Those are the big. And then I'll work down from there. But the other thing, too, is important in testing. Let's say you don't have enough to find somebody like yourself. You just can't afford it. Maybe you can afford a little bit, but not everything. You're going to have to self-educate yourself. You're going to have to study. And you're going to have to burn the midnight oil. You have to work a lot of hours to figure things out. And you have to listen to shows like this, go online and read, study. There are sources out there for you to learn. So it's sort of a balance, depending on how much time and money you have.
Yeah. So I
have one question.
Yeah, go on.
What can I do as a small business owner, let's say I have a restaurant with $2,000 to $3,000? That's what I want to know. What do I do today if I want to start marketing with this $2,000 to $3,000? By the way, I would say that your $2,000 to $3,000 spent on getting your fundamentals down on your website are well worth what you would get from the newspaper. Newspaper, you might get more immediate response now, but in the long run, you can get your website down because everyone's going to be popping up on all your cities on their iPhones and things of that nature.
Well, I agree with what Bill said, but I also disagree with those that have totally gone what I call digitized mad. And what I mean by that is that I think Bill just said some fantastic advice. But I don't, unlike some people, I think there's really there's a need and there's a place for what I call traditional marketing. I think television, radio, newspapers. I think newspapers have a problem with their cost base, their ownership, their advertising. They're just their cost base.
Right. No.
But I don't think local papers and the national papers that survive are going anywhere. I think there will always be a need for a newspaper. I think there's a problem that people just don't have the time. I'm not sure that there's a need for a paper every day. But I think the traditional, but what people have found is that to get what Bill said, that instant response, unless you've spent a lot of time on your website and you have high traffic numbers, you are going to have to use traditional media. But what you find is that when people find out about your business through radio, television, newspapers, whatever, is that they then go to your website.
Right, you can point them
to find out more about you. And if your website is awful and non-responsive and they can't view it easily on their mobile device, you will find that a lot of the money that you spent through traditional media to get them to go to that website has been wasted.
Guess what? Banks are going to look at your website to see if they can fund your business. I've already seen that. That's another issue. All sorts of people are looking at that website. If a bank sees you without a website, you have a retail business, they're probably not going to fund you in some aspects. That's the first place they're going to say, why would we even go any deeper with this company? If they don't have a website, I mean, they should, but they don't. Things are changing.
Yeah, so I want to delve in. So Bill gave the question, you've got a client that's got $2,000 to $3,000. Well, I think fundamentally we are going to be looking at a fee for that client. And I utilise fees a lot for clients, a commercial fee. One of the problems is, though, that there has to be an agreement between the designer, developer and the client about what they're precisely providing and can do. Use a fee, a commercially produced fee, and the designers probably, clients cannot vision. If a theme's a certain colour, structure, has certain content in it, and it's been displayed, and a client looks at it and they just haven't got the capacity to visualise with a few changes that we might get a totally different look. They just can't do it. They just haven't got the experience.
Some people can, some people can't.
In my experience, most clients can't do it. So you take a theme that's been developed and designed, and it's responsive. But what you got, and the web designer developer should be able to customize it if you provide a list of functionality that you're looking, but be aware that there's been a lot of testing, or there should have been, that the designer, developer needs to investigate before they suggest that we utilise this thing, is that it has been properly tested on various devices, or needs to do some testing. And then what you've got to be aware of, if you start moving everything around, and this is one of my criticisms of the theme that you're utilising, is that you start moving stuff around, and yes, it might look well in the one browser on the computer that you're utilising, but if there's a lot of fundamental change in that code, that whole website then needs retesting in various browsers, various platform devices, and that will take a load of time. What happens? It's not retesting because there is the budget for it.
You know, Jonathan, there's a difference in the type of themes and the kind of thing you're developing. Yours are gorgeous. WP Tonic is gorgeous. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. I know it's the Mona Lisa of.
I wouldn't go that far, but
mine are
there's a lot more I could have done, but I have time issues, like always.
I'm looking at functionality. I'm looking at a good. Actually, mine's like a blog with a feed, and then it's got some affiliate links. So it's pretty simple. You know, and that goes back to Drudge. Remember Drudge? You ever heard of the Drudge report?
Yes.
Drudge is a pretty simple looking site, but it's very popular. It's done by links. That's another issue we could talk about another day.
Yeah, but I want to. So basically,
so what
so you can look at themes. Go to various theme shops, promote that. But then there's a middle way, a hybrid between fully custom and then going to a theme shop, online theme shop like Theme Forest, or I'm going to get shot for suggesting them. But I think a lot of the criticism of Theme Forest is overblown. I think, you've got to look at the developers that work with Theme Forest, and you just got to be aware. But there is a middle road between buying a commercial theme and then accepting that you are going to change it and it will look a lot different. But you don't want to move stuff, go crazy, because that's going to involve a load of new testing. And a fully custom solution, which in reality, it's still going to have a base framework that most custom developers don't develop a WordPress theme totally from the ground up. Never happens. They utilise a very bare framework and then they build up. And then there's a middle ground. And the middle ground is there's a number of WordPress kind of quasar frameworks that are based on trying to find the right word in here.
Hey John, FYI, we're going to lose our
right.
So we need to not.
So they're based. There's a hybrid solution where there's a couple of kind of responsive frameworks where you can put WordPress in, and one of the most popular ones is one called Basecamp.
Oh, Basecamp.
And then
Basecamp's very popular.
And there's another one, and Bill butted in, and he's thrown me, folks. He keeps doing
you know what we need to do?
when I'm in middle flow.
No,
just kind of
we need to bring people back. And what we need to do next time is, I'd like to look at I think my real estate sites are jacked up. So I need to like to look at the real estate industry a little bit, and what type of websites, do a little research this week. Come back next week to the real estate side. And then we'll go back into this dynamic, responsive theme issue and finish up with some more detail. But this is important, and these theories are important. But I like to look at different industries now. I like to look at the real estate, the restaurant industry, automotive industry, and how they market, how they use WordPress.
Yeah, it's great, I think. So I think Bill's right to cut because I was going way off technical.
This is a strange, it's a good show. Good show today, but there's so much going on. I mean, we're seeing some things breaking through our numbers. and our podcasts are starting to grow. Even though we're screwing all up all over the place, they're actually growing. They're feeding each other back. By the way, your site's up on Timeline, so you need to go email all your friends with the link of Timeline, and then that will help build up back and forth the information marketing site.
I will make sure it's on my newsletter this month that goes out to
And you need to
4,000 people.
And I need to go to some of these local business meetups too and see.
And I'm going to broadcast WP Tonic to the 5,000 people that follow me on Twitter.
Very good, and it'll go. So I think that's about enough for today.
I think you're right.
It's pretty good. You know what? A little slow with the new equipment. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, thanks, folks.
Thank you.
I hope you
Good night.
enjoyed it.
Bye. We didn't recap though. We do a 1 minute recap. Tell them, first of all, I talked about.
That was too technical. I don't know.
I talked about.
You've got to have technical stuff in it.
Tell me the themes real fast. The three themes that you recommend for.
Well, they're kind of points are frameworks.
Frameworks. Yeah, frameworks. I have Genesis with Dynamic. Genesis is both the responsive design itself, and then Dynamic is over.
Yeah, the problem with it, and I had to say it with Mike Fitzgerald, but he loves it, and it's one of these. He's added type. He's running a successful business.
Right, he's very good.
And why should he
still
listen?
on?
Well,
we're still on.
Well, I know. Why should he listen? I'm not saying anything. Well, I haven't said to Mike to him. I'm not the type of person to say something behind somebody's.
No, I want to get my.
So I said this to Mike, and he just doesn't agree with me. So that's fair because he's much more successful than me.
Well, maybe Mike.
He loves Dynamic. He does, but my problem with it is, you're moving stuff around. You don't really understand the principles of design about what should go, what information should go in front of the client on the smaller screen. You're making all sorts of educated guesses, and then you're not really testing. You're not testing on all these different. So really, you have no idea how that site really looks. So that you might have somebody who's prepared to. But you'll never know that.
Right.
Okay. But that's the reality.
Anyway,
right?
we tried to talk about what the three review.
Oh, we do that next time.
In the notes.
Right.
So anyway, take care. Have a good night. We got to get out of here. Aloha. I'm not sure how our sound is going to be. I think it's going to be okay on this.
What on that?
No, well, it was. This feeds into this. This is where the recording is.
Oh.
I think it's going to be. I look good on here, but we peaked early on. You don't want to peak. Yeah, but in here it echoes a lot too.
It does.
But I think we definitely need these mics. If we had that blue thing going, if you pick up all the noise. Hey, we're still in the air. Hey, we're still here. You got to see what a mess we were today, but I think the show's going to be okay. So anyway,
it's been quiet, didn't I?
No, it's going to be better. Actually, I can't wait. I've got double equipment. No, but we said enough. I'm going to bring. We need to bring Mike in here and sit down.
Mike for sure.
Yeah.
Too busy making money.
He is a busy. Oh no, that's what he is. See, he's making money. He's busy. He's making money. He knows how to make money. You got to stay busy. Yeah, I'm not busy, but you got to be productive. That's the difference. We're busy. He's productive.
I'm making money.
What are they?
I'm not making as much money as Bill.
Mike.
Mike, but
okay, we're out.